It's a good question, but it's not a hard one to answer.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between these two guys is very small. You get an advantage for Josh Allen's like athleticism, running ability, size, and durability and all that stuff. Like you get an advantage there from him, but the way Patrick Mahomes plays, it's very Aaron Rodgers-like, except they win more often. What I mean by that is he doesn't throw interceptions.
Yeah.
And while Josh Allen's interception numbers are low, he throws a lot of interceptable passes. And it's not to take anything away from him. We're splitting hairs right here, and you have to differentiate between these two players. I think his propensity to put the ball at risk makes him a little less attractive than Patrick Mahomes.
Not to mention his propensity to put himself at risk.
Yeah.
The guy gets hit a lot, and that has to factor into this. And of course, they go head-to-head this weekend in Kansas City. Buffalo, despite being on the road, is a 3-point favorite according to Caesars. Josh Allen, of course, is 1-3 in his career against Mahomes. Mahomes is 6-2 outright in his career as an underdog. I almost feel bad putting one of those losses on Josh Allen, considering he gave his team the lead with whatever it was, 13 seconds, whatever it was in that playoff game last year. But it is what it is. So it brings up an interesting question. With those two teams going head-to-head this weekend, Canty, does the road to the Super Bowl in the AFC go through Kansas City or Buffalo?
It goes through Kansas City, and it has for the last 4 years. And I'm riding with the Kansas City Chiefs because they've shown me that they can win a lot of different ways, and they have the best player in the sport, which is Patrick Mahomes. There's no question about it. He's got the highest QBR through Week 5. He's got the most touchdown passes through Week 5. And since he took over the starting job in 2018, the Kansas City Chiefs have the highest offensive EPA in the NFL. Not to mention Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the history of going against the blitz. So I look at all of the different things that Mahomes can do, and I always have to give him the benefit of the doubt. I get it. The Buffalo Bills showed that they can win a close game a couple of weeks against Baltimore, but they don't do that very frequently. With Pat Mahomes, when he's down by 10-plus points, he's got the highest winning percentage of any quarterback since the merger, 57%. The next closest is Tom Brady at 38%. That's how good Pat Mahomes is when it's up against it.
No. I love it. He's impassioned. He's fired up.
He's got that
here's the difference for me. Josh Allen has more weapons on the outside. Gabe Davis is coming. I mean, he's coming to life. You look at Diggs and what he can do, and then you flip it over. Von Miller's a closer, man. Like they have not had that in the past, and now they have Von Miller who can get after it, and they will not blitz Patrick Mahomes because there's no need to. They can sit back, make this offense.
Allergic to good answer. You're allergic to the wrong answer.
You're allergic to the wrong answer. I was trying to tell you.
You're over here just, I mean.
It's such a good conversation. I was trying so hard not to sneeze. My head almost exploded, to be completely honest with you. But anyway, I apologize, because it's such a good topic and it's such a big game, and I just sneezed through it.
You did. But in all fairness, I do love Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to question how good he is.
Yeah.
I think Allen and the pieces and parts of the Bills separate this football team right now. It's going through Buffalo.
Kmart.
The better player is Patrick Mahomes, but to Jeff's point, it is the Bills. That's why they were the preseason pick for the Super Bowl. That's why even when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, like a few weeks ago, we were on the set like, oh, what's going on with the Chiefs? Like, what's going on with what's going on? They lost to I was there. I saw them lose to the Colts. Like the Bills have lost to the Dolphins. I get that. Okay, settle down.
Yeah.
But overall, they are just a complete team. And with Gabe Davis, to me, like Stephon Diggs, we already know Stephon is that dude. But for that game to start with a 98-yard touchdown to Gabe Davis, and they just took off from there, that tells you the Bills are a different team.
Is this, in this conversation, is this where they missed Tyreek Hill?
Yeah. They missed Tyreek Hill because he's the guy who, I mean, we could talk about that game last year with 13 seconds left. Tyreek Hill was a difference maker right there. I think being able to win on the edge takes the pressure off the quarterback. When you have two quarterbacks that are so close, we can call that a push, and the difference is going to be made in those ancillary pieces. Having a closer like Von Miller, getting Tre'Davious White back, a real shutdown corner, and having two guys on the edge that you can't leave isolated should do wonders for them. The big question is, are they going to be able to run the ball when they force people into too high? Which, if they can't do that, that's going to be an issue. But I also, while I intellectually, I know that the Bills are a better team. If we get in the playoffs, I might have to just put my palatial estate behind Mahomes.
Let me just ask you this question, because this is a good one for me. Josh Allen right now he is their best weapon to run the football.
Yeah.
We know that doesn't translate in the regular season. So how often do they use that if Allen has to be that guy? Because you talk about him taking shots, getting beat down. That is a concern for me.
Lamar, yeah.
Versus the playoffs, I think it's a different
All
feel.
these playoff games have been in Kansas City also. That's why this game is so important for the Bills to try and get this one at home. We'll see. My goodness, I could do this with you guys forever. As I continue to sneeze. Set the stage. We'll start with Alabama, Tennessee. What exactly is at stake in this battle?
Greeny, Tennessee has the best opportunity of any team in the country to impress the selection committee because they play Alabama and Georgia. They cannot go 0-2 in those games, but they can go 1-1. Here's why. If Tennessee can beat Alabama, but it loses to Georgia, Tennessee can have a win over the SEC champs without even playing in the SEC championship game. That's huge. If they lose this game to Alabama and beat Georgia to win the East, they could get another shot at the Tide in the SEC championship game. So this is a really remarkable opportunity. They just can't blow it.
And then let's talk about Bama here, Paul, and Bryce Young. The Bryce Young factor. It remains a question mark whether he'll be there. They just barely escaped a game against Texas A&M last weekend. Can they win this game if the Heisman Trophy winner doesn't play?
Alabama will lose this game if Bryce Young does not play. It's really that simple. They were ineffective. In fact, they were scary to watch Saturday night against Texas A&M, a team that they were a 3-touchdown favorite over, Greeny. So they need him desperately. I believe very strongly he will play. We don't know how effective he's going to be. The hostile environment, all that doesn't matter to Bryce Young. He's the best quarterback in the country. But I'm more concerned about other aspects of Alabama. They just look discombobulated. They're making so many penalties. They're making so many mistakes. Special teams. This is not the best coach team I've seen of Nick Saban. He's not the favorite to win Coach of the Year right now, Greeny. And a win Saturday will help. But right now, this has been a rough road, even though they're still number one in some polls, number two, and they're undefeated.
All right, so that is a huge game. Now we circle back to the one we talked about in the Big Ten. In this case, I will start with you, Paul. Michigan is a favorite at home against Penn State. Are we putting them on upset alert?
You have to. And Penn State's a little bit hard to wrap one's arms around. They have a huge road win at Auburn. Quite frankly, that's not really a big deal now that we've seen Auburn limp around for the last couple of weeks. But they're still alive, and this is a big moment for James Franklin. If he can win this game, he's got Ohio State later in the year at home, so the opportunities are there. I sense Michigan is going to pull this out, though, although they are not the most impressive undefeated number 4 ranked team in America.
Heather, is it a must-win for the Wolverines?
Not necessarily, because if they lose this game, technically they can still run the table, beat Ohio State, win the Big Ten, but they would need Penn State to lose twice, and I don't think that's going to happen. Penn State can certainly lose to Ohio State, but I think that's the only game left on their schedule past this one that they really have a chance to lose. So the one thing that everybody wants to avoid in the Big Ten is a 3-way tie between Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan with one loss in the East, because that gets into a tiebreaker scenario that will make everyone's head explode. So Michigan, bottom line, they're going to have to win this game in order to stay out of trouble and control their own destiny.
Super quick finishing here for both of you. Heather, starting with you. Ohio State has now become the betting favorite to win the national championship. If you had to pick the national champ right this minute, who would you say it's going to be?
Well, I'm glad Vegas and everybody else has finally joined the party, because I've been saying Ohio State since August. I'm sticking with it until they give me reason not to.
How about you, Paul?
I'm staying in the SEC. I like Ohio State, and right now, Greeny, they are the best team, but I still got my eyes on Alabama and Georgia to get a lot better. So, Heather, you can have Ohio State. I'll see you in LA with the SEC teams.